thank y'all for stopping by QandTG. We're going to talk about Rhythm of War. We read this behemoth of a book. We have many thoughts, many feelings, many emotions, and we're going to get into them, you know.
So
thick. We're like, how many C's?
Thick. You heard this song?
No.
You heard this song?
No.
It's got Megan Thee Stallion, like featuring Megan Thee Stallion, like DJ Chose featuring Megan Thee Stallion. I think that's what the name of the artist is.
Cute. So let's start with some. Let's start with some light, you know, no spoilers, just our feelings about the book. And then before we get into spoiler territory, discussion, debate, we'll give y'all a warning. If y'all haven't finished, y'all can go about that. So, so coming off Oathbringer and hopping into this, and just tell me how you felt at the beginning, like the first half of the book, if you can remember.
I was excited to see where the story went,
where
the story goes. I knew that I was going to be one of those, like, you know, snippets of information here and there, and then you're going to have the big Sanderson. And it was good that I read What You Faced before.
Dawn Sharp. Yeah, we did read Dawn Sharp before.
Yeah, I think we forgot to put that in the wrap up. But Dawn Sharp, we read that before this, and it was good now to see like some of the things that you learned from the end of Dawn Sharp, what you learned from that, and tying it into the story. Like you start to be like, oh, so this is that, and that's that, and I wonder what this person is doing right now. You know, so like.
So would you say Dawn Sharp is required reading for this, or would you say just strong enhancement?
It's just enhance the story. It just enhance the story.
Yeah, I don't think it's required at all, but I definitely think you get a higher level of enhancement from reading Dawn Sharp.
Yeah, there'll be like those small. It would be like as if you were rereading and then you picked up on things that you didn't pick up before. Yeah, that's kind of what reading Dawn Sharp before this is like.
Agreed.
But no, like I came into it like, you know, all right, cool. You know, they started off soft. I think we had some sections with Kaladin and things like that. And, you know, it was action packed. It was, you know, it
definitely was one of the faster paced starts.
Yeah.
That he has. Like, you know, beforehand, you know, they're usually somewhere remote and they're building up to doing something. This one started off with like, bam, hit the ground running. Like, oh, y'all came off Oathbringer, y'all know what's going on. Here we go. You know, which for us literally having come off Oathbringer, I think that was good. It was like, okay, cool, we can hop into this, we can keep it going. I don't know how well he kept that pace up. How did you feel about the pacing of the story?
Again, we had just finished Oathbringer, and it was just a struggle to read a large book. Back to back, to be honest, for me. And I think the pacing was like overall for the book, I think it fit for what the book was and what the story it was trying to tell. Now I think the pacing was fine. Like at book 5 into this is book 4. No,
this is book 4. Yeah,
book 4 into the Stormlight Archive. This is his pacing. Most all the books. So I mean, if you read all the other ones and you enjoy them, the same pacing happens until you get to the last 150, 200 pages, and then start jumping and popping off, and you know you going down that Sanderson with your skis. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what this is.
I mean, and honestly, if you know, I don't know how much more you want to say, but like we can stop right there. Like if you enjoyed Stormlight Archives 3 books in, you're going to enjoy this book.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy this book because you're invested, you're committed. You probably read some of his other stuff.
Yeah.
You know what Sanderson is trying to do. You might not know how he's trying to get there and what the end goal is, but you know what he's trying to do and you like what he's trying to do, and you will continue to like what he's doing and trying to do in this book. But like in my opinion, this probably book gave everybody the most equal amount of shine. I feel like everybody had their moment in this book, right? A little bit in their moment.
I think he definitely pulled back from Dalinar, though.
He definitely pulled. I mean, Dalinar had the star of the last book, so he pulled back from him. But Navani
was like the perfect amount of Dalinar, in my opinion.
It wasn't enough Dalinar for me, but we cool. Navani and Vinley were like here. They got the most shine, but everybody else was just kind of like right here. They weren't like huge. And Oathbringer, it was like Dalinar, and everybody else kind of suffered by that. Yeah. So I think he kind of got it more equitable in this book, which might be good for some people who really want to see their favorite characters get a little more shine. I think you'll be happy about that.
For sure.
Any other non-spoiler things you want to talk about?
Nah, I'm ready to get into this. I'm ready to talk about my specific characters now. So, appreciate y'all if y'all made it this far and you are only here for the spoiler-free review. Yeah. Shout out to you.
And if you want to keep supporting us, you can just let the video run and put it on mute for your boys and keep that watch time going. But you don't have to do that. You can finish it and come back. We always gonna be here for you. So cool. All right, bro. So I figured we start by humming the rhythms, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna hum the rhythm for honor because I'm more honorable than you, and you're gonna hum the rhythm for odium because you're
straight up though. I am Team Odium
because you're more like
I am Team Odium.
Okay. So all right, cool. I'll do the honor rhythm. You do the rhythm. You ready?
All right.
All right. This is what I think honor sounds like.
Because they said it was like the beats were like different, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so mine is not supposed to match yours.
Nah, but we're gonna get them together. Okay, so. That's odium?
That's what odium sound like.
Oh God, that's what odium sound like. Let's talk about some spoilers, man. I got some notes, man. I think last time you had a lot of notes and you kind of steered it.
We'll jump off.
So we'll jump off my notes this time. Things I loved / really like. Navani's come up.
Yes.
Navani had a great come up in this book, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We did a tier ranking video, which people have been telling us they want to do some more tier rankings, man. So we have to run those back. And I think we gave her like I think she was like a B class in like so S through C. She would come up to like A-S.
She's on the cusp of S.
Yeah, she's on the cusp of S.
I feel like with 5, she's gonna be S.
She'd probably be S, right? She would move up at least a whole tier and a half in my book.
She's like right on that cusp. She's like S. She's like looking at it. Like,
she is.
I'm about to get there. Like that's her.
Yeah. So the story started with Navani, right? And I liked it. I liked it, especially coming off Oathbringer. From Dalinar's point of view about Gavilar, right? He was this very astute, forthright, visionary of a brother who, was just looked upon the masses as the perfect king that was needed to that pose, almost like a Homelander. If you have watched The Boys, there you got the Homelander pose.
Definitely Homelander.
So he
that's a great
right. Like he came off to the masses as this regal figure, but in Navani saw her being close. You saw that he was kind of like a bastard from jump, just rude to her, belittled her, didn't care about his kids like that, like as much as you thought he did. Like he just was whack. And so for him putting her down, and then that line, I think he said that, like, what did he say to her? He said, "You're not worthy," right? And then at the end, when she was trying to bond the Tower Sprint was like, "You're not worthy." And she came back. She's like, "Yes, I am worthy. I'm the one who's been putting this stuff together. I'm the one who's been putting this work in, trying to put the lights together, trick Raboniel, getting the Radiance they lights back. I did this shit, ish. We're gonna bleep that. I did that. So, but yeah, and so." Her standing up for herself and proving that she was a scholar, like proving that she didn't have to prove it to anybody but herself. Everybody looked at her as a scholar, like she proved to herself she was a scholar. She made the whole flying machine, like Cass was moving across the country in a flying machine. So Navani's come up and her becoming a bondsmith equal to my favorite man's the bondsmith couple. I was a fan. I was like, I like Navani, So I like Navani's come up, man. She struggled to get there, and it was a good struggle with her and Raboniel, the mental battle.
I left this book happy that I fell in love with Raboniel.
I definitely enjoyed the mental battle between Raboniel and Navani. Like they had this mental back and forth, and like I like a villain who encourages the hero to try to win. Mm-hmm. You know, it's almost on some like Dark Knight type of like Joker, like you need me, like we need each other. Like Navani wouldn't have progressed had not Ravonio pushed her to the limits. You know, and they both Ravonio almost considered her as a friend in death. Like she saved her, like she tried to save her. You know, so they both engendered something through a bashing of each other. You know, which was really cool.
It was a real layered friendship.
Frenemy
situation.
So the next thing I really enjoyed was Adolin and Maya. So the Adolin and Maya relationship.
Yes.
The end. That was probably one of the best. Ever since Oathbringer, when he started treating Maya with like some respect and like he saw what Maya was in Shadesmar and like try to develop a relationship, I was like, I knew something good was going to come out of that. I was like, something good in a pivotal moment was going to come out with that. So I wasn't surprised that Maya spoke up, but it was still good to see that, like, oh yes, like it took Adolin's commitment to what was considered a dead being to, you know, be revealed for her to step out and like do something that wasn't supposed to be done and speak as a dead Spren and change the course of how the Honor Spren wanted to use their bond, you know? And also the reveal of, like she said, that they chose together. The whole time we've been thinking that, like, what do they call themselves? Was it the previous Radiants? That they abandoned their oaths, right? That they just killed their Spren, like, oh, like you my Spren, like, oh man, sorry, you gotta die, bro. Here, I'm leaving. But like they made the decision together, and that made it deeper. It's like, that's cool. Like they didn't just abandon their Spren, like they made it together, and then like it was cool to see, but they also made more questions, like why did they make that decision together? Like what was so dangerous, you know, about them? We thought it was just because they came from their homeland. It was like, but maybe it was more than that. Like why did they make that decision together?
And obviously, I think we're gonna find out as she starts to be able to speak more, learn more about that. So it's gonna be cool.
I like that one. So you enjoyed that too?
I enjoyed that. That whole relationship was phenomenal.
This one I'm gonna let you go ahead and take off because I know you enjoyed this. Taravangian Odium. So tell me why you like my man's Taravangian.
Taravangian is just so, he's such a cool character.
I agree 100%.
Like the fact that he can, you know, one day he's super smart and one day he's just so compassionate that he just cries at everything, you know. So you know what I'm saying, like and then there's the in between days, right? And I don't know. I just like the idea of him one day be the opportunity to become smarter. Yeah. You know, him. You know, the whole time to me, I was like, oh well, maybe. Oh girl, the what's the chick? The person, the god that gave him the power.
Cultivation.
You know, whole time cultivation made him super powerful, super smart. Just that one time, it seems like, just so that it was almost like. So he could trick himself and trick Odium so that he could get to where he needed to be eventually. But it was kind of like, you know, she was just doing things and to see how stuff kind of played out. Dalinar was one of them. Taravangian was the other. Taravangian's whole storyline and everything about him was just so compelling and so dynamic and just, you know, like what he was trying to do. Like he from his mind, everything was over. Like, so I'm just gonna try to save my people, you know, whatever. Like it was just really cool. And then sometimes funny when he was when he was on his smarter days. Hilarious.
Yes. So what did you think about the ending with Taravangian becoming the vessel for Odium? I
am Team Odium now. So if Dalinar becomes like a weapon of Odium, I'm all for it. Hey man, Taravangian, do what you got to do, bruh. Like I just at this point now I see how I see him opening it up to the bigger picture of what's actually going to happen in this world now. Like this whole thing that's going on between them, this little war, you know, is feels very he minimized it, I think, to let us like know, like, yeah, they've been doing this all these years, but what's really about to go down is the big thing. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm Team Odium right now.
And I think Sanderson making Taravangian the vessel of Odium was great to actually make your villain have some sort of like level of relatability, empathy, that just make your villain more of a personable presence than just this entity, right? Yeah. Beforehand, Odium was just this powerful thing who could bring the dead Spren back.
We didn't know who he was.
Who he was. He could put you in visions to burn you to death. He was just a power, you know. But now he's power with the mind that we know. You know, like this is saying like, don't fear the enemy you don't know, fear the enemy you know, or something like that. It's like we know this dude, and it's like it's scary how he thinks and how he thinks he's doing everything for the greater good, and it's like, oh man. So that was really good. I enjoyed that. How'd you feel about Moash?
In this book?
Yeah. Do you? So I feel like in the Oathbringer, I feel like you kind of didn't feel like Moash's villainy was, not I want to say deserved, but you didn't think. I mean, his big act in Oathbringer was killing Elhokar, right? And you were like, I wasn't really feeling. I didn't really care about that. The way he did it was rude, but you know, he had some motivation. Whatever, Moash. What do you think about Moash killing Teft and Moash? You know, the way he tried to do the Kaladin. Like,
that was tougher. Like that was harder. And definitely like F Moash. Like Team F Moash. Now, like the Elhokar. Just like the connection wasn't there. Like I get he was angry with him. I get that he was becoming better. All these other things. Blah 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 blah.
Teft was like one of his boys. Like should have been like they were bridge 4, right? Yeah. It's like if he would have killed Rock or killed Lopin. Like if in book 4 and 5 he kills Rock, and if he kills more bridge 4, I'm like man, fuck, like these are supposed to be your boys, man. Like y'all was in there struggling in the bridge together, and you out here just murking them.
Exactly. So that's what made that one like really like. This one's like what I complained about the Elhokar's death was that I didn't feel like I had to close the book. On this death, I still didn't feel like I had to close the book because I could kind of call it. Like it felt like it was there and it was about to happen. Like you knew he was gonna do it because he's not gonna kill Kaladin. That was the whole point. Like we can't kill Kaladin.
Yeah, he said that many times.
Yeah,
right?
We have to break him. It was obvious at this point that he was the way to break him was to take out another person he cares about.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a like let me close this book and shed a tear and talk and think about this. But it was like it still had me like dang.
I had to take a breath. Right? I was like.
Teft, you know.
And he said
you saw his story close.
He did. You did.
And MK called that out with his brother when they did a video.
Yeah, they did
on Oathbringer, and
So he did a good job of villainizing Moash better. You know, I think he took Moash's villainy up a level. There's a Yasna and Wit relationship out here. I didn't know about that. I was like, what? That was a surprise.
I ain't gonna say what I want to say. I ain't gonna say what I want to say.
That threw me off. I was like, Yasna and Wit, but it works because they're both. She's extremely intelligent. He's extremely witty. They have the extremes matching up. So we'll get on some slight negatives. I would say negatives. I do think these flashbacks were probably the weakest in the series, in my opinion. So the first book, flashbacks about Kaladin. They were entertaining me. The second book was about Shallan and her whole thing and with her family. I thought it was pretty good. Third one's probably my favorite because I love Dalinar, his flashbacks. You got to see the Blackthorn. These about the relationship between Valiant and Eshonai, like it brought more depth to it, but I don't know if it was like the most. I don't know if they compare as far as level of intrigue, in my opinion, to the previous flashbacks. I feel like there was less of them. And I don't feel like they were as deep as the previous flashbacks. Like I wasn't looking forward to the flashbacks like I was in the previous books, in my opinion.
No, I agree. But there were key moments that we had to hear from Vinley's story. I think that was very important to the story and for us as readers to get more information. And her sections around, being with the king and like sneaking through the palace.
Yep.
And then her meeting the what were they? The Herald.
Yeah, Herald.
The Herald. And let's see. just like the whole changing and everything. But yeah, no, I did lose a bit of interest whenever, like, I was low-key getting confused. I was like, Vinley, Escher, and I was like, who's who? I was low-key getting confused sometimes, like who we were following. But yeah, no, I agree. It was not my favorite of the flashbacks, but it was like the information that I got from it. I loved,
very much so. I really liked the Adolin and Shallan storyline. It was odd though, the huge gap that was there. Like it was like part 1, part 2, and then we didn't see them for like half the book, and then at the very end, Adolin and Shallan popped back up, and it finished their storyline. Right?
I love that.
You love that?
Yes.
Why did you love that?
Because there was no Shallan for like a whole part.
So that was my next. That was my next downside. So I thought it was disjointed how that happened. Like as far as like we saw the tower constantly. We saw Dalinar and Yasha constantly, and Adolin and Shallan disappeared for half the book, and then they came back at the last third of the book, like last quarter of the book, and it was like, okay, y'all are back now, and then it was good, but it was like that was weird. I wasn't the biggest fan of Shallan in this book.
Yeah,
no. That's what I think that you was trying to go to, right? Like
no, I wasn't. Like it was just, I was just like,
I know he was pushing on the identity disorder, which is obviously a real thing, and we've seen it done like in the Split movies at Night Shyamalan, and that was obviously done for a different type of purpose. That was for somewhat entertainment / recognition. This was trying to see the distress that it was causing her, and then you get the reveal at the end of why Veil is Veil to veil her from there. I get that, but
I knew that was what it
was. Where what was created to hide her from that pain of her. We didn't know she killed her spren, but we knew it was a big hurt from her. I don't know. I just they. I don't think they were as effective for me. I usually looked forward to Shallan's chapters previously. Obviously, Pattern was a big boon in her chapters. Maybe that was part 2, her and Pattern beefing most of the story, and I was like, why are you beating the Pattern?
I have to give it to what's her husband's name?
Who? Adolin.
He's a champ.
Adolin saved the Shallan and
everyone needs an
Adolin.
Everyone
storyline
needs an Adolin. I need an Adolin.
Adolin was great.
You need an Adolin. Everyone needs.
Everyone needs an Adolin. Is there a possible Kelsier connection in this?
It's funny because in one of my notes when I was writing, when I was taking notes.
Because what was that character's name in the book? The one that
I forget the main boss person on another. Like,
yes, on the
I forget what that name was.
What's the group's name?
The group's name is the Ghostblood.
The Ghostbloods. So the leader of the Ghostbloods, I forget who they named him as. Yeah. There's possible implications out there that it's Kelsier. Yeah. Which kind of almost lends to your thing, like, come on, Sanderson, like, kill people, like, because one of my not favorite things, but one of the most impactful things to me about Mistborn, one, was when Kelsier died. I was like, oh, not my dude, like, I like Kelsier, and then I was like, now I'm like, oh, he's still kind of alive, and I haven't read Secret History, so I want to read that now. And so I'm like, it makes me excited, but also makes me like, oh, man, you're not going to really kill, or y'all going to be like,
now it's like whoever comes back, I won't be surprised. Whoever it is, because even when he was, when Kaladin was talking to Zaire, what's his name? Zail. Yeah. And he was like, I'm a second entity or whatever, God, chromatic being, whatever. So it's kind of like, well.
And the whole thing about Warbreaker is that they come back, like they have gods that come back after death.
Exactly. So, I will accept all of this though because of the interconnected world and how it's all connected within all the books. I think it's cool. If he was any other author, or this was any other just like trilogy or 5-book series or 10-book series, I'd have been like, okay, man, come on now.
I'm 50-50 with you too, because like I want to have. I watched Alex Nieves' last video on John Gwynn books, and he was like, a lot of characters died in like book 3 of the series, and like they're like dead, and I'm like, oh, like that has to hurt, and I want to kind of get there, you know. And like
to me, like I love that hurt.
I do like that hurt.
And flip side, like you know, it's like there's fanfare, and then there's like, you know what I'm saying, like
exactly.
I'm gonna write these cats off, and y'all need to accept that.
Almost like a Misery, like, oh, I'm about to kill these off. Y'all love killing him? Killing is done. I'm done with him. Like, don't just kill him to kill him, but like, if you do kill him, make it impactful and make it, I don't want to say permanent, make it like us feel it, and don't bring him back next book. Like, you know. So I mean, I'm not saying he brought Kelsey back, but we ran it anyway. We'll keep moving.
I don't know who Wit was talking to.
Okay.
I think he was talking to Renarin. I don't know if it was Nar. He was talking to someone. And he was basically saying, like, eventually all these powers will be commonplace.
Yeah, he did. He said something like that.
I don't know who he was talking to.
I can't remember who
he said all these powers will be commonplace. I think he was telling a story. I think he was talking to Kaladin. Was he talking to Kaladin? He was telling a story to somebody.
Yeah, telling a story to somebody.
And he was basically like saying, like, one day everybody's
gonna
be radiant. Yeah. Everybody's gonna be powerful, and I think that's gonna be book 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right?
There's a dynamic and power shift between era 1 and era 2, right? Because you have a mixing of people, and so you have more people doing more things. Yeah. So I agree with you on the fact that I think there are going to be more people with these powers.
Yeah.
Like maybe the sprint floodgates open and everybody's got a sprint, right? Yeah. It's not just the Radiant's got a sprint. Yeah. Everybody has a sprint, and everybody's bonding sprint.
You knew all gay, like when they were talking about, I forget who was talking to who again, but someone was talking, they were I think it was a sprint or something. I forget. They were describing how it was Rabonio talking to what's her name, Navani, and she was talking about how I think it was Rabonio. Anyway, they're talking about how like these the people came and they were dusty and they had like soot on them.
Yeah,
and you know what I'm saying, like to me I was like, oh shit, that's Mistborn. Like,
yeah.
So it's like the whole thing with Mistborn, we won't talk spoilers, but the whole thing with Mistborn was like, you know, when this people had to, you know, recreate the world the way it had to be, the premise, it's kind of like, well, whenever this person did that again later on,
right?
So and so show up.
And you have
book,
three god level beings on this planet, so they can do some sort of power pack where some might get reshaped.
Yeah,
and then they start over. So you know it.
And then when you take the power, you take all that knowledge. You have so much knowledge, but you don't know everything. You have to learn it so fast. So it's like you make mistakes, you do things you can't undo. So it's like, who is who is where and what is what. So it's like, that's like the greatest thing about this book. It just opened the intrigue of the world now, and it's like, whoa, you know, what are the implications? And that was the best part of this.
Yes, that's another plus, the future implications.
Yeah,
and one of my future predictions is that like somehow, some way, Renarin is going to be like either the savior or like the sacrificial lamb of the entire like book 5 whole story, right? Because he comes in these like super important parts, and he like can kind of see the future, and he's like telling the importance, and like Teravangian's will for like trying again was that somehow him being close to Renarin shaded him from Odium's influence, right? And he does that with Dalinar. So like Renarin's like his whole sweet way of going about things and caring about things, and like he knows he's an outsider, but he's still pulling people in with his just goodness. He has that same goodness that Adolin has, but like his importance like is just can't be overstated, even though we haven't fully seen it yet. And I'm excited to see like what the end goal importance of Renarin should be to the story, you know?
So I wrote something's gonna happen to a lot of these people. I think a lot of folks are like, I feel like, is there gonna be a time skip between?
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a time skip.
I think a lot of these people probably gonna take an L book 5. Like what I was just asking for about deaths and stuff. So I think a lot of people gonna take an L book 5.
My future predictions with Renarin somehow being the savior or pivotal. Another one was main character deaths. So I feel like
majority
of the main characters.
We got how many main characters?
Let's say like
we got 8.
So we got 8.
I feel like
5.
3 or 4.
3 to 5 will take L's, like
3
permanent
to 5
L's.
Will take some L's. Permanent.
With permanent L's, which who knows what permanent L's in Cosmere means?
The Cosmere is basically like Marvel Disney Cinematic Universe.
They can be rebooted at any time and keep going. But they might. Some of them might meet the true death. Who knows? But yeah, so that was my other prediction that we're gonna have strong Cosmere tears in book 5 and that main character.
I mean, he's leading up to like all these like the past 2 books, death at the end, death at the end, and it's like as an author, as someone as great as him, there's no way he's going to give us this little death at the end of book 5. He ain't doing that
because he's supposed to take. I think on his blog I read he's gonna like after book 5 he's gonna take like a 3 to 5 year break, like do other stuff before he hops back into this. So he's not going to end us with just one little death. Like, nah, it's going to be like some reverberating consequences.
And I don't think it's going to happen like the last 200 pages. Like, I feel like it's probably going to happen like it's going to happen boom, and then maybe another one's going to go boom, and then another one's going to go, so that we can deal with it and handle it until like book 5, because he has to provide some type of closure if he's going to take this big of a break.
One thing, so I won't
big of a break for him. This is a huge break,
right?
For him.
We for as long as the rant in this video is all to say, we both thoroughly enjoyed Rhythm of War.
Yes,
it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be like it won't probably gonna be till like 2023 till he puts out the 5th one. Yeah, but we're gonna be in there. We're gonna get the book. We're gonna try to read it. We ain't gonna read it as fast as MK is. He's speed like it took him like a month, man. It, probably like 10 days. MK knocked that joint out.
And he didn't do audio. He just did. His brother did audio. I think he said he didn't do.
He did straight reading. His eyeballs was flashing,
bro. Give me those skills, bro. Yeah. Do a tutorial on how to read like me.
Right.
I want them skills.
Thank y'all for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, give us a clap. Because I don't know, they ain't got no drums, no rhythm, but clap emoji.
There's no drums?
Is there a drum emoji? I don't think there's no drum emoji. Give us a clap emoji for applause for you. Applaud y'all for making this far.
Shout out to y'all.
Thank you.
Do it, come on. I think they was holding hands too. Dance.
Not dancing.